a stone. I just don't know where I can go. Fun's getting low. Winter is a coming fast and colder than the last. Pity for me, cold as can be. When breezes blow with ice and snow, no wonder then I sing time and again.
Welcome back to Sparky on Ice, the coldest podcast on the internet. Last time we talked about Willie Field, and I think I brought you guys up to date to the March flight time period. March flight is when the extended summer people start leaving. So we dropped down from the 250 after main body to I think 199 until the April flight when the rest of the extended summer people leave. Also, March marks the beginning of winter here because we get our first 2-day weekend. We get 1 2-day weekend a month, and it usually coincides with a holiday. But the other months that don't have a holiday, we just work extra hours during the week to make up for it. So we get a 2-day weekend. So Saturday and Sunday off. So we're into March, as I said, and I'm getting a lot better at finding stuff on the computer, and I've been going through a lot of the old paperwork in the shop, trying to figure this place out, because really with the cyclical nature of our jobs here, no one's here for a really long period of time. Very rarely does someone stay a long time. And what happens is a lot of information gets forgotten. So people are nice enough most of the time to write them down. And one of the books that I found was on the heat trace. Now, heat trace is an electrical circuit that goes on pipes, and it uses resistance between 2 wires and the amperage and current to create heat, right? And it wears down over time, which, it's going to. But that's very vital here because we don't want our seawater intake or our wastewater or freshwater lines to freeze. It's a very, very bad idea for that to happen. So I wanted to learn a bunch of stuff about it, and it turns out I found some very, very important information because at night we're also on call. We have the on-duty call, and one of the things we get called out for is low temp alarms on the heat trace, which can get very frustrating because it's not really a low temp alarm. What's happened is the sensor gets a big gust of wind, and it thinks it's cold. So we get called out to go check it out. And it's really frustrating because it's a false alarm. But what I found in these books, and what is in these books that I found, were some instructions on how to set them up for the winter. And we had the wrong set points, which is really good because it's going to save everybody from getting woken up at 2 a.m. to go check a false alarm. Everybody was really happy about that. Also, I moved out of my room in 203 to the winter quarters in 207, which is a bigger room and a supposedly nicer bed. I disagree. My old bed was just fine. It's also a little closer to Building 155, which is our main central buildings. You can find the maps online, or I'll give a link to in the show notes somewhere to what we do. So yeah, got my new room. It's really nice. Been here a while, and it's different, but it's cool. And that's where I was able to set up my recording booth that I'm currently recording in. Then I also joined what's called the MCI team, which is the Mass Casualty Incident team. And I am on the auxiliary team, which basically makes me a mini doctor, sort of. More like a well-trained first responder. So we're learning how to treat patients and things like that. We had our first big training incident the other day, and doctor said we did really well. We had supposedly 4 patients of a fake accident, and we went through the drill and learned how to do all the stuff. And it's going to be an ongoing thing, something we do weekly. We're just learning how to do these things. Eventually I'll get to do like IVs and stuff like that. So it'll be really cool. Looking forward to that. I also joined the library, which means I do a library shift every Monday night. So, basically we're the librarians, and we take care of the library. I do puzzles or put books away or talk to whoever comes in, see if they need anything. And then we check out books and receive books, all the good fun library stuff. And then one of the biggest issues that came up recently, at least for me personally, is we had a problem with our radio station. It's been down for almost 2 weeks. I haven't been able to do my radio show, so I'm really frustrated. Really want to get, I could get in there and do the show, but it doesn't do much good if no one can hear it, right? So just waiting for it to come back up, and I'm really anxious to get back in there because I got a whole cool playlist set up around grooving and dancing. That's a really good playlist this time. So that should be more fun. And then there's been a couple fun days at work. So one of the days I have to, so we got some new buildings that are being put up, some new nodes for our communication systems, and they needed ground rods and grounding and all this stuff done. Well, I kept looking for a really nice day to do it, and there was never a really nice day. And I said, you know what? Then one day I just said, tomorrow I'm just going to go do it. I picked the worst day of the week. It was cold. It was almost Con 2 weather, and I'm outside doing these ground rods, and if you know anything about this sort of stuff with CAD welding, so basically I use this magic powder to create a flame that welds two pieces of metal together. It's really, really cool stuff. But I was doing that, and then I had to feed that wire into the building. So it was really, really cold, really, really windy, and it just made for a miserable day. But I did it to myself. I waited too long. And then I just got to get it done. And I've still got a couple more buildings to do. And then we found out this week that they want us to do this big, ginormous wire pull up on Rival Heights. And we're looking at this thing, and we're like, no, there's no way. We can't do it. It's 1,200 foot of, if you know anything about cable, it's 2-watt cable. And that means it's probably as big around as your average man's thumb. They want to do 5 of them. That stuff weighs, 2 pounds a foot when it's all together. So you're looking at over a ton of wire we got to pull up this hill, and there's 3 of us. You're like, no, it can't be done safely. So they don't like that answer, but we're fighting back, and we're not really going to give in on this because it is a safety issue. And one of the things they do stress down here is safety. Big time on safety. So we're really adamant about this one. We want to do it in the summer when we can get more people down here to work it out. And then I think that catches everybody up to the current time, which is the last weekend of March. The weather's been okay. It's been cold. We hit like -8 today with like a -20 wind chill, so it was bearable. But you go outside with your big red coats I talked about. You just make sure you're covered up. Get your face covered with a balaclava and your hat, which I love my hat. It has a light on it, which is going to be very handy when the sun goes down, which it goes down in a couple of weeks. So that'll be fun. Now that we're all caught up, I think a normal length show is going to be more close. It's going to be closer to this, like 10, 12 minutes long. And then, so I think we're going to do this weekly now that I've got everybody caught up to where I am. We're going to do some weather on each episode. We're going to talk about the week and how things went and things that went well and things that didn't. There's certain things I can talk about, certain things I can't. It'll be what it is, and I hope you guys enjoy it now that we've done the intro stuff. But I think that we can move on to some questions. Maddie has a couple questions. First 2 are related. So she says, what are your work shifts and what do you do during your off time? Well, everybody's work shifts. Everybody works days, that is, except for some of the stewards. Works 7:30 to 5:30, Monday through Saturday. And we get Sundays off, except for the 2-day weekends, which I talked about earlier in the show. And that's pretty much a given schedule. And like I said in one of the earlier episodes, we start out by stretching every day at 7:30, and then we head to the shop, and we're up there by 8, so we can get our stuff together and do our work orders, and then go do our things. We get an hour for lunch, and then 2 15-minute breaks where you're supposed to. So that's pretty much our work schedule. Time off, I kind of talked a little bit about last week, but we have a lot of social stuff to do. Me personally, I tend to surf a bit of the internet, play a couple of video games I brought with me, watch movies, and that's another thing I didn't talk about that I want to talk about is the TV we have here. We have Armed Forces television. So mostly a little bit of unbiased or equal time news, I guess, is because you get Fox, CNN, and MSNBC in 3-hour shifts. And then you get some regular TV here and there. I don't usually watch regular TV, so I don't really know what's on that station. But we have 4 movie channels. 2 movie channels are the repeat, where they repeat the same movie for 24 hours. 2 others are random movies, and there's a list of the movies, so we know what's coming up. And every day at 5:44, they play The Next Generation every day. So that's nice. I've been catching up on those. And then we get a couple Kiwi stations from Scott Base, and then some sports and some informational stations and stuff like that. So that's the TV. We have bars. We have, like I said, the library. We have a weight room and what we call the gerbil gym, which is cardio, bikes and treadmills mostly. And then we have some clubs. I just found out yesterday that we have a D&D group here, but the DM is leaving in the April flight, so they don't have a DM for the winter, and I am a horrible DM, so I won't be doing that. We have lots of, normally in the summer we have lots of outdoor activities you can do. You can take bikes, you can take skis, you can take a walk up Observation Hill, go down to Hut Point, the Castle Rock Loop. There's lots of hiking. In the early summer, you can take a walk out on the ice shelf. There's an ice loop you can take. They don't suggest we take it now because it's all water right now, so it'd be kind of hard. Yeah, they do all sorts of fun stuff like that. They have a basketball tournament at the big gym. We've got band rooms we can use so we can play music, and there's plenty of things to do. You won't, if you're willing to put in the effort, it's there. And if you want to do something, they always say, if you want to be a leader in something, let us know. We'll see if we can figure out how to do it. So there's plenty of stuff to do. Her other question was about how does someone apply? So best way I can tell you to apply is go to, I'm going to look it up just to make sure, and I'll put the link in the show notes, but you can go, I would put in your search Antarctic jobs, and what you're going to come up to is this group called ASC, which is Antarctic Service something or other, and they have a listing of jobs. You can also go to the USAP website. They have links in there to get to the job search, and they hire pretty much anybody and everybody. You don't have to have a specific set of skills to get a job here. There's plenty of jobs, obviously, that are considered low skill, like stewards and JANOs and things like that. But then there's also the skilled jobs like mine and the plumbers, and carpenters, HVAC, maintenance techs, things like that. Mechanics, we have an entire mechanic bay. We have loader operators, so if you got a CDL, know how to work big equipment, that's always a possibility. We have office staff. Usually those are staffed by full-timers from the companies that they work for, but you might be able to get on. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's worth applying. And like I said, no serious skills needed. People come down, do a job that they're not really qualified to do sometimes, or they're overqualified for a lot of times, just for the opportunity to get down. I've met a few people who've gone under their career standards just to have that. So there you go. That's all I can really say about that on the podcast. Anyway, if you want to give me questions, you can voicemail one on the Anchor app. You can email me, podcast@sparkyonice.xyz. And you can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, or subscribe on YouTube. And I think I'm going to leave you with that. And now we're going to go from this point forward to regular show outings about once a week, and internet providing. All right, see you later.